episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. Erin McKinley, and today we have another awesome spotlight session with Shelly, Gabel, and Kirk Heller-DeMesser from the Mount Mary University Integrated Master of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics program based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. All right, welcome to the podcast. To get us started for this episode, I would love for everybody that's with us today to do a quick introduction to you, your journey to Mount Mary, and anything else you would like to share with us today. I guess we can go ahead and get started with Shelly.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shelly Gabel, and I am the director of the Integrated Master of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics at Mount Mary.
Excellent.
Right.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Kirk Messer, and I am the Director of Graduate Admissions here at Mount Mary University.
Hi, I'm Andrew Kalashevsky. I'm the first IMSND student at Mount Mary.
All right, welcome. Well, I'm going to let you proceed to your presentation to tell us all about your program today.
Great. Thank you. Hi, everyone. And thank you for joining us for this information session for Mount Mary University and our brand new Integrated Master of Science program in Nutrition and Dietetics. So you've got a little bit of our introductions already, but we'll also do an overview of Mount Mary, a program overview. We'll talk about the curriculum, a little bit about admissions cost and aid, and any questions and answers that you may have. So that again are our names and titles, and just wanted to have that available to you if you need us. And I have contact information at the end as well. So a little bit about the university. Mount Mary is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's an urban Catholic university sponsored by the School Sisters of Notre Dame. The school has over 100 years of history, and the dietetics department has actually over 85 years of history. And it's well known for producing strong and capable leaders who are desired in the field of dietetics. The campus is built on diversity and inclusion as evidenced by our values of our university, which is seen here on leadership, integrity, and a deep sense of social justice, as well as our mission, which is educating students to transform the world. In the past, Mount Mary has offered a coordinated program in dietetics, dietetic internship, and a master's of nutrition and dietetics that was for dietitians, and it still is for dietitians. As some of you may know, starting in 2024, a graduate level degree will be required to sit for the national registration exam. And in response to that increased requirement, Mount Mary created the new Integrated Master of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics. We often call it the IMSND. And that was approved and accredited by Ascend in 2020. The first cohort of this program will begin in the fall, and we'll have up to 36 spots available every year. And it is the only accredited master's program in the greater Milwaukee area at this point that will be open and taking students. Mount Mary undergraduate is for women only, but the graduate program is open to all genders. And we aim to support increased diversity at Mount Mary and in the profession of dietetics. Through the IMSND program itself, it's new. The standards of education will be no different than in programs and cohorts before it. For our current coordinated program, the 5-year average attempt for the pass rate of the national registration exam is 94% for first time attempt, and it is 100% passing rate within 1 year of first attempt. Our history has a solid pass rate and will no doubt be a part of this program as well. Mount Mary dietitians are agile, passionate, and hardworking leaders prepared to transform the world. And we hope that you'll join us in continuing this legacy. So here are the prerequisites required for the program. These are intended to provide you with the foundational knowledge that you'll need to be successful in the program as a future dietitian. For any students coming in with a bachelor's degree from an accredited nutrition or dietetics program, you will likely have most of these courses already. For those coming in with another type of degree, we would look at that differently. But for most of you in this podcast that will be listening to this. I think most of you will be coming from a DPD or accredited program. And so you will have the majority of these classes as my guess. And we would be considerate in looking at your classes and evaluating your transcript as needed. This is an area where you'll work closely with your dietetics advisor to really individualize your path if there were some extra classes that you needed to take. The IMS&D curriculum is built around the field of dietetics, and it's going to focus on all practice areas such as medical nutrition therapy, food service management, community nutrition, and nutrition research. It will have an emphasis on evidence-based practice and leadership throughout. You will graduate Mount Mary being exposed to being able to practice in several areas of dietetics practice, giving you a variety of paths for your employment. And I think that is different when you are looking at different programs. If you go for a master's in public health, a type of program, or a master's in medical nutrition therapy, it's going to have to cater to all the Ascend competencies, and you'll have to do bits and pieces. But ours is truly focused on having those all to be a strength when you leave our program. So you will be well versed in all areas to be able to practice or change practice if you need to. Here you can see that it's a 5-semester breakout of the curriculum. It's a combination of in-person and online classes. From a fall semester start, 1 full year of spring, summer, fall, and then a final semester of spring. You will complete the IMS&D in just under 2 years. For example, the cohort starting in 2021 will graduate in spring of 2023. And in total, there are at least 51 credits, depending on electives that are added, and there are over 1,000 hours of supervised experiential learning. And we call those SEL hours. And that is integrated into the curriculum, which you can see in the 3rd column here of each semester. So there are some SEL hours throughout the first 3 semesters, with the majority in the last 2 semesters in M&T, community, and food service management rotations. The integration of the SEL hours in the curriculum means there aren't separate internship hours, and scheduling and placement is handled entirely by the faculty. So as we continue to look at that, you'll be able to get an idea of what we do as we go through today. While this shows the traditional 5-semester, 2-year approach, students can take up to 150% of the standard time to complete the degree. That means you can have up to 3 years to finish the program. So if things come up or you need some flexibility, you can take an extra year to complete the program. For those of you who have graduated from a DPD, you may have taken some of these classes at the bachelor level, and we can work with you to look to see if we can waive some of those classes. It is not based on the class as much as it's based on the competency at certain levels to determine when that's possible. So in our supervised experiential learning, there are possible opportunities in all of these areas. Community sites, medical nutrition therapy, and management. And again, you'll gain over 1,000 hours and be able to sit for the registration exam. And this is truly where you're going to, the supervised experiential learning area is where you're going to take the application of the classroom to practice. You're going to work with a variety of preceptors in all different areas, and we will do our best to individualize experiences so you can work in your areas of passion.
All right, thanks, Shelly. So in terms of admission, cost, and aid, first to cover the application and admission process. In terms of eligibility, we are looking for, obviously, that you have your bachelor's degree or are completing your bachelor's degree while you're in process of applying to the program. As Shelly mentioned earlier, we would be doing an evaluation to determine that you have met all of the prerequisite courses, undergraduate level prerequisite courses that are required for entry into the master's degree program. a minimum of a 2.75 grade point average cumulative on a 4.0 scale. And we're also looking for at least a B, C, or higher in professional courses, including those science courses. Okay. In terms of the application process, applications, and I believe we'll have some flexibility for students for the second match process, but we typically are looking to receive applications by March 1st, but that will certainly be extended for students that are looking to do a program this fall that did not match perhaps with an internship program. So it would be the graduate studies application, which is an online application on our website. The last bullet point there that I'll jump to, if you do decide to apply to our program by virtue of watching this podcast, we will waive your application fee. So you can use that code there on the last bullet point of the middle section there, the MMU visit code, to waive the $45 application fee. In addition to your application, we do require 3 recommendations: a resume, a personal statement, and then your official transcripts. Okay. And then once applications are complete, the dietetics faculty do a review. They do a holistic review of your application, and I think we'll cover that in a little while. But they will review all aspects of your application just to make sure that the program is a good fit for you and that you are a good fit for the program. In terms of cost and aid, graduate tuition is currently at $760 per credit. We do charge a per credit rate based on the graduate program that you're enrolled in. So we do not have in or out of state tuition. It's one flat tuition rate, regardless of your residency status. And then in addition to tuition, graduate students also pay a general student fee each semester, and that can range currently from $140 to $275 per semester based on your enrollment status, whether you're full or part-time in terms of your enrollment. So the bulk of your cost is going to be the tuition for the program, the $760 per credit times the 51 to 55 credits that are required for the degree. Will give you a ballpark for your total tuition costs for the IMSND. In addition to tuition and fees, books and materials would be required. Those costs are not included in tuition and fees. And then some courses may have a small course fee associated with them as well, but that would be evident upfront as you're registering for courses each semester. In terms of financial aid opportunities, there are a variety of options that graduate students can pursue at Mount Mary. So some of the opportunities that the university offers would be our graduate assistantship program. This is a program where various departments around campus hire graduate students to work in that department. It can be anywhere from 10 to 20 hours per week, depending on the department that you would work for, and the stipend can vary. Most graduate assistantships will offer some type of tuition benefit, so perhaps maybe 3 credits of tuition remission each semester that you're employed as a graduate assistant. Other assistantships may offer a monthly stipend or an hourly pay rate. So definitely graduate assistantships are an opportunity. Another opportunity would be the federal student loan program. As a graduate student in a degree seeking program, you would be eligible to apply for and receive federal student aid, which would be in the form of student loans. And graduate students have a maximum annual award of $20,500 per year that they can take out if they're eligible for that amount each academic year. Another option would be scholarships. The university does offer the Mickelson Graduate Student Scholarship, which is a merit-based scholarship for graduate students. And that is an annual scholarship, so it's not automatically renewed, and that typically has an award of $1,000 to $2,000 per year. And then we always encourage students to check out their local or state or national professional associations, such as here in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Association of Nutrition and Dietetics, or the National Academy will often offer student scholarships as well that we encourage you to seek out and apply for. And so those would be some financial aid options. And again, it could be multiple options that students take advantage of to help meet the cost of their education.
And as Andrew will get to talk soon, he is also a graduate assistant for us. And I know we have, I think we have 4 credits of grad assistant for our department alone next year. So there are opportunities for that. The next slide is some frequently asked questions that we thought about ahead of time. First one being, can I work during school? This program is definitely going to be difficult to work full-time. When you look at the hours of supervised practice, as well as the classes, it's pretty heavy. It's busy. It's very busy, but I definitely think someone could work part-time, probably mostly weekends. That would definitely be a possibility. Again, can I do it more than 2 years? Yes, you can take up to 3 years to complete the program. So there's some flexibility there if you can't quite get it done in 2 years, or if you have to repeat something, or just anything happens. Who should write my letters of recommendation? Generally, I like it's not as competitive or difficult as a traditional internship is to get in. And I was an internship director, so I do understand what you typically are under as far as pressure for that. So for this, I really like to hear from people that know you the best, who can speak to your flexibility, your academic ability, your what they think might be what you could bring to the field of dietetics. So I think those would be important qualities that you could definitely look for in a reference letter.
All right, we will go ahead and jump into the 5 questions that I ask all programs that come on the podcast. And these were put together with the help of my students to make sure that I was asking the questions that they really wanted to know the answers to. And so my first question is, what is one thing in particular that you just really love to see when you're reading an applicant's personal statement?
Personally, for me, I love humor, if you have any. So if you can make me laugh when I'm reading a personal statement, that's awesome, because it helps me remember you. I'll never forget. Also, individualized experiences. I can think of one example from a long time ago, probably over 10 years ago. Now, the applicant wrote about a research project that she had, and she was given a pig to put on a treadmill, and she had never had a pet before. And then she wrote about her experiences and responsibility of having to take care of this pig for this research project. So again, it was probably more than 10 years ago, and I still remember it because it stuck out. So I think that's important in a director remembering your application. And be honest, tell us really what you're interested in and what your passions are. But I love humor, so.
All right. So when we're talking about resumes, do you stick to the strict guidelines a lot of students here where it should just be 1 page, or are you more flexible depending on the applicant's experience?
We are completely flexible. So based on the applicant's experience, you can tell us in 2 pages if you'd like to include more. So Mount Mary is used to having non-traditional students as well in our program. So quite often they have a lot of experience coming in. So it's sometimes hard to bring that down to 1 page. So we're very, very flexible with that.
All right. So what is 1 or more things that an applicant may do, and this could be in an interaction you have with them before they apply, or something that they may do in the application itself that raises a red flag for you, to where you might think this person might not be the best fit for this type of program?
I think in traditional programs, you would probably raise a red flag with grades, maybe. right? If you see someone that maybe got a C in biochemistry or a C in physiology, I think the advantage of coming into a program like this is that you're going to have a little more coursework, a lot more coursework really compared to an internship. So that's going to help prepare you more. So it's different from a normal and traditional internship in that way. I think if somebody was very closed-minded or it looked like they were very unflexible, because I think in this profession, you really need to be flexible and you have to be open-minded. So those would be two qualities maybe that would raise red flags. But if you are showing that flexibility, organization, that's usually one that goes along with dietetics as well. But again, this isn't going to be these type of programs. The FGs are probably not as competitive as the traditional internship. So just putting your best foot forward, I think, is most important.
Since this program is a new aspect of what you've already been kind of working with. So what is the number one thing about this new program that you really feel separates it from other programs that might be a little similar to it, as far as the setup of not having to have a DPD verification statement and being more flexible and open to getting more applicants from a more diverse background?
I would say it's our individual ability to individualize experiences. Now that comes along with an FG, the future graduate program. So it does come along with it to some degree, but I think the size of Mount Mary and our long-standing history. So if you have a student who really wants to do their clinical experience in working with patients with eating disorders, we have lots of connections to do that. We have a variety of experiences that we can look at. Also, if someone comes in with a lot of food service management already, we have the flexibility to give credit for some of that if they can show competence in certain areas. So I think the overall size of Mount Mary, because it is small, I mean, our classes are generally, our graduate classes are somewhere between 8 to 10. The largest classes for these is estimated probably at 18. So if we're, at full capacity, because we'll probably end up with we can take up to 36 students. So you're still talking a small campus. It is the entire campus. What is it, Kirk? I think it's about 1,200 students total. Is that right?
Yeah, about that, and about half our graduate students. So we do, for our size, we have a large graduate student body. So they are recognized and known on campus and served. So I think that's another, kind of a unique thing about us. Yeah, and I would say too, just the general kind of our location. We're on the edge of Milwaukee, so we are within the city of Milwaukee proper, but we're on the kind of on the edge of the suburbs. But I think it offers a couple. We're very close to urban experiences, if that's what students want, but we're also accessible, to rural or suburban experiences as well. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities for students just due to our geographic location to get those diverse experiences.
I think one of the new experiences that we're also going to have starting this fall is we are having a new construction actually occurring on campus, and it's called Trinity Woods. And that is our sisters, or if you think that nuns, it's going to be their final home. It'll have some long-term care. There's going to be apartment housing for single mothers with a child. There's going to be a daycare, and there's going to be senior housing on campus. So that offers a lot of experiences on campus that we as a dietetics department will be able to produce without having to travel far. And it's we're going to have a lot of control over that as a department that will be able to make sure that our students are truly getting the experiences they need and at a master's level. So the experiences can be taken up a little bit higher, so that when you are coming out of a future graduate program like ours, you're going to be truly prepared, and those employers will appreciate that.
All right. So my last question of the 5 is a 2-part question. And the first part is, what would be the 3 best adjectives, descriptors, or phrases that you feel best describes your program overall?
So the 3 adjectives that I think best describe our program is 1, individualized. As I have mentioned, I think that we have a ton of connections in the Milwaukee area and even elsewhere. We have faculty that have worked in around the country, and that we have connections to be able to get individualized experiences for our students. The second would be to help them be prepared. As I have also described that in this presentation, we have these prepared faculty who have done this for a very long time, and our program is longstanding, but also we have a variety of things that are going to help prepare our students to be able to perform job functions in a variety of different areas and be competent in those areas and feel, secure in going out to practice. So that's an exciting part. And I think we're really looking forward to that as well with this program. And the third one would be that of leadership. So that is an emphasis in our program. You will see leadership throughout the program, expectations, as well as development of leadership skills.
All right. Well, my second half of that question, very similar. 3 adjectives, descriptors, or phrases to describe your ideal applicant.
Well, as I think of an ideal applicant, I do think of someone that would have leadership skills already. But sometimes that, I think, intimidates some students, where they might think, well, I'm afraid to lead, or I'd like to lead, but I don't know how. And I think what you have to be is malleable, that you would be willing to put yourself out there and be willing to become a leader. So, and that can look very different for different people. And I think that's another exciting part of this, is to be able to do that. So if someone is willing to try new things and willing to improve their skills, then we're going to help you do that. The other is to be a go-getter. Come out to Wisconsin, be willing to put your best foot forward, try new things. We are all aspects of dietetics. So food service, clinical or MNT, as well as the community and research. So maybe you don't like one of those areas and you're not so sure about it, but you're willing to put your best foot forward. So, and that's what we would look at, is somebody willing to do that and be a go-getter for that. And the third, I would say flexibility. As we have learned this year more than any other year, we have all had to remain flexible. We haven't always known what was going to happen next and how we were going to get to the next place, or what the next day was going to bring. So I think flexibility is important for all of us to go, and for any student coming in.
Well, that actually leads very well into one of my additional questions that I have, is that we're all aware we've all had to make a lot of changes because of COVID to our programs. Is there anything you've done this year that you actually like, and you're going to keep it the way it is, maybe in a virtual format or some sort of socially distanced format, because it's actually working out a little bit better?
I think a lot of things have come out of COVID that have been very, very good. And one is, yes, we've seen classes that instructors thought, no way could this be virtual. And they've come out and done a great job of converting things virtually. It's just opened our mind to virtual education, which has also given our classes some flexibility as well. So also flexibility in scheduling, where we were always very regimented in our scheduling, and you can't miss a day and you can't do this. And we've really learned to adapt to that. There have been so many adaptations this year, and I think that our faculty as a whole has had to make just so many changes. But in the end, I think it's been just great for the university. I think Andrew could maybe just, if you have a few minutes, speak to being a student here at Mount Mary, because he's done some prereqs for a little bit, and then maybe what he's looking forward to, because he'll be one of our first students.
I think one of the things that's most memorable, at least for me, is coming from the prereq side, from the sciences. Each and every professor on that side is very passionate about what they're teaching, and it is specifically Dr. Conway. She teaches the organic chem, biochem. She's very good at helping students understand those things, and they can be very complicated when you're talking about the different bonds and things that we're going to have to know if we go into that MNP side of dietetics, but that she would take the time to maybe come up with new packets or something, which is something you wouldn't get at UWM or UW-Madison. It's kind of, here's the information, go to your discussion if you have to, but the entire lecture is more or less a discussion. That's one thing that has always stood out to me there. What else? I would say, at least, and for the department, they bring a wide variety of experiences there. Shelly and Pat, you guys are more of the business. You guys understand that side more. Linda understands their counseling. Lisa knows community as well as Linda. Dr. Dana understands the MNP and research very, very well. I actually have a class with her this semester, and she would break down the research better than most, you would think. So I think that this is two of the things that definitely speaks out the most about Mount Mary.
So Andrew, what are you looking forward to most in the fall as far as like getting started in the program?
I'm actually looking forward to MNT the most, but I'll definitely be interested to see, one, if COVID's still around and how that's going to affect everything. That's something I'm looking forward to. But I would just say I'm just looking forward to see what goes on with medical nutrition therapy the most.
All right, that's awesome. An MNT lover is always a good thing, because we're not all of us are like that.
Haven't had it yet. So.
All right. So I just have one more question. So how is RD exam review going to be integrated into the program?
In the last semester of the program, there is a class that it'll be a 1-credit class as part of the final 6 credits, and it will be integrated into that. Traditionally, we have brought Breeding and Associates to campus and run a series for that. But I can tell you that several faculty often give RD questions throughout the program. So when I'm working with senior students right now in the coordinated program, the traditional coordinated program that we've had, which is closing, I'll put those on exams as, extra credit questions that they can start practicing for their RD exam. So I think it's really integrated throughout the curriculum as well. So, but towards the end, that final semester, we'll definitely be looking at that. As I've worked with a couple senior students this spring, and we had some projects for them. Because of COVID, it was a little bit different. I had 2 students actually work with me at the university, and they were putting together and improving some lectures of, let's say, quantity foods. So for them, this is just an example of what we do. I said, well, what were some topics that were hard for you that you think maybe you don't have a good handle on for the RD exam? And so they would pick a couple topics, and I said, okay, I'm going to have you update those lectures. So you'll have to do some updated research. You'll have to look at the newest and greatest, areas of practice relating to that topic, but also they were preparing it so they would be able to teach it themselves if they had to, but also just help prepare them for that RD exam. So again, it's kind of integrated throughout.
All right, perfect. Well, that was all the questions I had. So to close out this episode, I would love for each of you just to give a quick take-home message to potential applicants to the program this year.
Kirk, would you like to go first? He's smiling and shaking his head.
Sure. I can go first. No, I would say, from a general university perspective and a program's perspective, I think we have as was mentioned, a rich outcomes-based history of dietetics, a successful dietetics program here at the institution. So I think students are set up for success. In terms of an institution, kind of going back to some of my comments about, our location, I think we have a great location that offers a variety of diverse experiences for students. In terms of convenience, I think there are a lot of convenience factors that can help reduce stress and help students focus on their studies in terms of, we have ample parking. We don't charge for parking. It's easy to get around campus, very personal, welcoming, very hospitable environment. So I think that, we have a student-centered approach across the board, whether you're in class or working with different service areas. So I think, the community, both the community our university is within in the greater Milwaukee area, but also the community of the university really stands out to me and is very supportive and collaborative. And I think that's, staff to staff, staff to faculty, staff to students, faculty to students. So I think it's just a very welcoming environment. And I think, people, in addition to the great education they get a lot of, build a lot of great relationships and support systems here.
I would say if you're looking for a university where you're going to find passionate instructors that understand how difficult things may have been for them, they can translate that for you. And like Shelly was saying, they try to individualize things. Because I know I've talked about the MNT stuff. I know they're probably already thinking about possible placements for me on that front. And that's probably about all I have to say on that. It's want to work with instructors that know their stuff and want to see you do well. They give you constructive criticism. They don't just try and break you down. They say, hey, something wrong here. You need to correct this.
Thanks. And Aaron, I guess what I'd like to say is this is a brand new program. Although we are ready to go or just about ready to go, we will be by August for sure. I think in our faculty, we're also very flexible. So as we're moving through this and figuring this new program out, it'll be a fun time. It'll be a time for students to help make a difference in a program as well. Tell us what works, what doesn't work. So it's a great opportunity for that and to try new things. So one thing I can tell you is I do not like to do things the same old. Anyone that has known me as an internship director and and now in this role, I like to really switch things up and I like to be on the cutting edge. So if that's the kind of program that you're looking for and you want that, come along with us. So apply.
All right. Well, thank you all of you for joining me today on this episode. And for those at home who would like some more information on the program at Mount Mary University, check out the link I've provided in the description below this video. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.